Time is a precious commodity. People use it for all sorts of things. Some use it for work and other responsibilities. Me? I'm going to use time to talk to some really awesome people. I'm Sergio Barrera, and this is A Few Minutes With. Good evening and welcome everyone to this week's episode of A Few Minutes With. I am Sergio Barrera and I am joined as always by the amazing Susan Chisholm and George.
Wow.
Simply George 1234, George Alvarado.
One of these days I'm going to get a really good intro and Susan's just going to be introduced as Susan and I will probably be kicked off of the show that same day. So
No, it comes down to
It's happened.
I'm more scared of her than you. So
That's true. I know where you live.
So welcome guys. We've been on a bit of a hiatus. We have been allowing time to pass while our friend George recovers. It's good to see you again, George. We're glad you're back.
Yeah, man, that COVID stuff ain't messing around.
Yeah, I tell you.
Kicked my butt and a half, and yeah, I'm just dealing with the stupid cough aftermath.
Yeah. Been where you been, buddy. I'm glad you've taken time to recover, and we wish you continued healing, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
We weren't going to do this without you. So
No.
I know. I was pushing you guys. I was like,
Yeah.
guys, you know what? I got Mark Wahlberg on the line. Let me go ahead and bring him on. I got Ben Affleck. I got The Rock. You just tell me who you want as your third, and I'll book him. And you guys were like, no, George, we definitely need you. And I was like, oh my God, you guys are the best. So, yeah, y'all kept the show without me.
yeah, well.
Something tells me that's not exactly how the conversation went.
We were just like, so
y'all just had stuff to do.
they're like, I can watch a movie. And so
I play video games.
That's right. That's right. No. Of course, we're gonna focus our attention on keeping the show to the three of us. And so if we got to miss a couple, that's okay because you got to take care of yourself, buddy. All of us. We want to say hello to folks who have jumped into the chat. Captain Sparkle Pants, Do the Drew, and Rostafunk Jr. Thank you all so much for dropping in. We appreciate you being here as we begin this most recent episode of A Few Minutes With here on Twitch. And the topic tonight, we decided that we were going to talk about guilty pleasures. There are those things that in your lives you have that you're like, oh man, if people knew, it might be a little bit embarrassing. So, and we're gonna divide it up into a few topics, and we're just kind of see where this takes us. We'll be looking at guilty pleasure songs, guilty pleasure movies, guilty pleasure foods, and then the one that I find most awkward to say, guilty pleasure activities, because I don't know where that's going to go. So
I need to put the rated R filter, MA filter, whatever.
I hope not. I hope not.
Lord. I mean,
we were
something pleasure, something.
Yeah, I know. We were just talking about the background music. Well, there we go. We got the background music for our guilty pleasure activities.
Oh, man, a lot of twangy guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's Captain Sparkle Pets already commenting. Where's the beep button?
Mm-hmm. That was on that was on.
It was on a different show, but I realize now I can make that happen. But I haven't figured it out yet.
Not pointing any fingers, but I think one person might need it a lot more than I need it. So, I'm not gonna point the fingers at anybody. And
yeah, she gets kind of cussy. So
yeah, a little. I mean, yeah, no.
Sailor.
Not much.
Mouth of the sailor.
But yeah, so we're also going to invite those who are in the chat to feel free to chime in as well as we talk about the different topics that we're going to be looking at tonight. Because here's the thing. The three of us have been fortunate to have known each other now for a couple of years. And in that time, as we've worked on various projects together, you can't help but get to know one another, right? But there are still some things out there that maybe people know, maybe people don't, right? And so yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation to have, and we're going to see where this takes us. So, but before we do that, I do have a very important announcement that I feel it important to make, and that is that tomorrow Jedi Survivor releases, and I'm very excited about that. So,
also,
that out there.
If you pre-ordered a Legend of Zelda edition Nintendo Switch OLED, that also comes out tomorrow.
Really? What comes out tomorrow?
The Legend of Zelda edition OLED.
It's a pretty Switch.
So you're taking focus off of my big news.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
You're not the only one with big news.
Got it.
You know what? I'm gonna be the person in the middle right now, and I'm gonna say that I'm kind of more excited about the Jedi Survivor. Kind of that seems not to agree with the host or anything like that, but you know, I'm just saying.
Bye.
I've been sending Sergio a couple things today.
No, but yes, I'm sure many are excited about the news that Susan shared as well. So I don't have a frame of reference for that, but other than I own a Switch. But we were, however, talking about Legend of Zelda stuff earlier, Susan and I, because I had questions about Ocarina of Time. Not Ocarina of Time. Ocarina, something different. Is that even still a thing? Ocarina Springs?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you all are talking about.
You don't know Ocarina Springs?
What are you
it's
talking about?
It's a thing in San Marcos.
Oh.
San Marcos. There used to be a swimming pig there.
Oh. Swimming pig?
Yeah.
The swimming pig is not a thing anymore. But
no, not anymore. Not anymore. So Ocarina Springs, boy, we are not even going into our topic yet. Ocarina Springs used to be like a small water park. I think kind of along the same line as Snake Farm, where George and I recently were. And kind of small, but it was sort of a water, not so much a water park as a water-based thing. And
like
there was a swimming pig. They had squirrels that were on, like, what do they call them? When the boat pulls the skier, ski boats. Squirrels on water skis. And all kinds of cool stuff like that. And now it's like, I think if I remember correctly, if it's still out there, it's more of like a research facility for like conservation and things of that nature. So, but yeah, it's called Ocarina Springs. And it was a thing. And that wasn't what I was talking about a moment ago. It was Ocarina of Time, which I know both of you know.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And that, my friends, is how this show goes. So.
Hey George, what's your favorite part of Ocarina of Time?
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time. I would say like my favorite all-time scene is just when Little Link turns into Big Link when he gets the Master Sword out of the stone. That's like the most epic moment. And then that stupid part where he has to go into the woods and chase after the Skull Kid. And then all through all the different mazes. Yeah, those are like my two favorite like parts in it. But yeah,
man. I like the end when he comes back to being Little Link, and then he like goes to Hyrule Castle, and like him and Zelda see each other, and then it just ends.
Aww.
It's so cute.
All right, well, the show's gonna end. I'm about to go play Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time right now.
Yeah. For my next song, I'm going to play I Have No Idea What You're Talking About. So, but yeah, so that topic came up in another aspect of my life earlier today. And so I was asking Susan about it, and she sent me some content to look at. So, all right. Well, I want to say hello also to, I'm hoping I pronounced this right. And if I didn't, I hope they'll correct me. Lady Arucard. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but thank you so much for joining us here this evening on A Few Minutes With, as we prepare to discuss our topic tonight. That is the topic of guilty pleasures. And again, we divided these into 4 categories: guilty pleasure activities, guilty pleasure songs, guilty pleasure foods, and guilty pleasure movies. Now, there's, of course, probably a ton of other things that we can talk about. But let's just see where this takes us. So I'm going to let you guys decide which of the 4 topics we're going to go to first.
Food.
Okay. Then
I don't know. Nobody said anything.
Yeah, I was waiting. The food is good. So what we'll do, I think, is we'll just sort of kind of rotate through. We don't necessarily have to do all three, or we don't need to jump around. If you want to, let's just throw them out there, because I've got, for each of these, just so you guys know, I've got 3 and some honorable mentions. If you didn't bring that many, that's cool. If you brought more, fantastic. Let's just see where this takes us. So, guilty pleasure foods. George, and for everyone watching, I'm going to use an example that George introduced us to as what I would consider a guilty pleasure food, just for the sake of definition. George, you have a love for ketchup on tamales, and you were brave enough to share that with us. Yep. Literally.
Almost got rioted. I had a bunch of hate mail on Facebook, but I lost my Mexican. What is it? My Mexican card, Hispanic card, and yeah. But overall,
you earned it back.
Overall, it was good.
Yeah. So, Susan, since you dove in with the first selection, why don't we start with you? What is a guilty pleasure food, or what are some foods you'd like to share that are guilty pleasures for you?
Okay, so I have 3. They're all delicious. So recently I had a conversation with you, Sergio, I think on the food show. We talked about, it's a cheese that you can buy. It's called Boursin, and it's got herbs and garlic, and it's Gournay cheese. It's very crumbly and soft, and you can put it on crackers and you eat it, and I can eat the entire box in like 15 minutes.
A short amount of time.
Which is why I'm not allowed to buy it. I've gotten a lot better. I have a box that I bought a week ago, and I eat just a teeny tiny bit every day. And then the other day when we were making mashed potatoes, I was like, let's put some cheese in it. The next thing is something that isn't really, if you think about me and my preferences, it's not really a surprise. But it's called by many names. I call it a pickle roll up, or ham roll up. Some people call it different things. Like at the end, there's one, I've heard it called Midwest sushi. It's a pickle roll. So it's a piece of ham, and then you put cream cheese, and then you put a pickle, and you roll it up. You can eat it as like a whole spear, or you can chop it into little chunks and eat it.
Say the ingredients one more time.
Ham, cream cheese, and pickle.
Do you know what I'm going to ask you, right? About the
what?
Pickle?
Tell me.
Do you dry it off before you put it in the green? Oh my!
No, you don't.
How is that?
You know why? Because you want to be able to have add a little bit of moisture to the cream cheese, so it's not just Anyway, so okay. I'm gonna make it for you. Next time I see you in person, I'm gonna make them for you, and you're gonna be shocked. Honestly.
So my Swiss cheese brain being what it is, that already made me forget what your first one was. What was your first one? Was it butter on beans?
Oh, that's another one. We'll go with there. The cheese, the Boursin cheese.
Boursin cheese, got it. Okay, so Boursin cheese, and then so now you're saying cream cheese, ham wrapped around a pickle.
Yeah, and now that you also mentioned butter with beans, I make pinto beans in the crock pot or the slow cooker or the pressure cooker, and I serve it a bowl of beans with cornbread, but with butter on the beans. A last one for me is something I'm outrageously picky about because there are so many varieties of this type of thing.
Okay.
It's chocolate covered cherries. Okay. But it's a particular brand of chocolate covered cherries.
Okay.
So most of the time when you go to the grocery store, you see those boxes of chocolate covered cherries on the top shelf, and they're $3 and nobody really buys them. And those are they have the chocolate, and then they have a white sugary substance, and then the cherry inside. I dislike those intensely. The brand is called Cella's, Cella. The liquid inside is not crunchy or gritty or white. It's clear. It's basically probably just corn syrup, but I will seek them out. Usually they're available around Mother's Day at Walmart, and I have not been able to find them in a number of years. So I've resorted to ordering them off of Amazon and I will eat them. Okay. If you know anything about me, I eat constantly. Like I'm always eating. I will put those away and I will have one. And I will unwrap it and eat it. And then I will wait 3 or 4 days and then I will eat another one. Like I will save them for the longest possible. Until the last day when there's 3 left and I eat the entire, like I eat the last 3 because I'm like, no more.
I had to look them up because I wasn't certain with, which ones you were meaning. So, okay.
Yeah. So if you look up chocolate covered cherries, most of the time they have like a white center, like a white liquid center.
Yeah.
Those are no bueno. Go for the clear liquid center. 100% better. There's also some with like alcohol in them, like brandy cherries and my mind just went blank. But they have some like alcoholic type of drink. They're okay, but Stella's are where it's at.
Gotcha. Interesting. All right. Well, I'll try the pickle one.
I'll make you some.
Yeah, pickle and cream cheese and ham. Okay. Well, there you go. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about because I'm trying to figure out how to react. George, what about you? Guilty pleasure foods.
So, I mean, I don't think it doesn't make. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those you got to try it. So, me and you had a trip, like 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, to a place called PB and Tay's.
Yes.
And with PB, yeah, PB&J with Tay.
PB&J with Tay, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Which is a peanut butter and jelly shop to anybody that doesn't know. But they don't do just regular peanut butter and jellies. They usually do like miraculous ones and spectacular ones. Well, one of them that I had there had definitely an egg. So to some people, they're like, oh, I wouldn't think to put a peanut butter and jelly and an egg together. Well, now that's how I eat my peanut butter and jellies.
Oh, yeah?
It is just, bread, it's got to be toasted bread, peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. Specifically
grape jelly. And then a nice fried egg over easy. So I'm kind of I like a little bit of the runny. But here's the thing is it's like, when you look at something like that, you're like, I don't know how the egg is going to react how it matches. But I mean, I still put the salt, the pepper, any of the spices. Was it the everything but the bagel seasoning? And yeah, I like my peanut butter and jellies with an egg now on top. Nice. Which isn't too disgusting. But then there's also the one where still sticking, and me and you we have one of our lost episodes of the other show that you do, the Taste of the Food Life, when we had almost our sandwich off.
That's right. Yeah,
one of our lost episodes was a breakfast or was it was a sandwich off, and I did a breakfast sandwich, and mine was super loaded. But yeah, mine did have an egg.
Right.
Yeah, an egg, and what is it? Spinach leaves, tomatoes, all that stuff.
I think you even had like pickled peppers or something.
Mm-hmm. And then, so on top of all that, like that kind of gave me another idea of just pretty much doing a breakfast burger, which I just now do pretty much like a burger, but I just add the egg on top of it, and I might add jelly on top of that also. So
wow.
I'm experimenting little by little, and I cannot. I don't know what it is. I love sweets. So
sure.
The what is it? The balance that it has, and sometimes that the charness of the burger kind of goes well with the sweet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're also it's like the sweet and savory that you're working with there. Shout out to our friend Jeremiah, who owns PB&J with Tay. It's good to know that he inspired you. Mm-hmm. Now, I have to ask you, do you use the Texas toast or just regular bread?
So I'm not all about that money, like some people, so I can't afford Texas toast. Maybe like once every couple months. But when I do, pretty much to put it this way, it's not about the money. I just waste toast if I buy it that way. So
we'll start a Patreon, and then one of the things we'll do is make sure we provide you with your
one loaf of Texas toast a month.
That's going to be the straight to George thing from the Patreon.
We have a Patreon.
Well, I have a Patreon, but I think we should do one for the team. So for this show, more on that in the future. I have a Patreon. I do. I have a Patreon, and I have a patron, and I'll give you guys one guess.
Shut up.
Who it is?
Shut up. Don't you dare say
$2.47 every month. So, and it's appreciated. Trust me, it's appreciated. And listen, it's only because I don't put it out there like I should. It's totally my fault that my Patreon has not grown, but it's because I'm weird about asking for help. So
yeah, that $5 goes to his once a month icy and a bag of chips at Valero.
That's right. Oh man, ices. Is that a guilty pleasure food for any of y'all? Because I've never been able to get a taste for them.
I don't like.
I haven't had an icy like I probably drink like one icy a year. Like
okay,
and it's usually at the movie theaters.
Oh, okay.
To me, an icy it reminds me of where they poured syrup and then ice in a blender and like whipped a bunch of air into it. And so if you just like sit there and let it melt, like you get a full cup. Yeah. But then if you sit there and let it melt, by the time it's all done, there's only like a quarter cup of actual good stuff.
Product. And it's not cheap. So
no. So I'd rather buy a slush at
yeah. I made the mistake of making my first icy ever a cola one, and I hated it, and I never even went to try the other one. So
you got to try the blue raspberry. I'm just saying.
No, thanks. For myself, my guilty pleasure foods. Some of you know this already, and I caused a chaotic moment in my class earlier that I was teaching today. Eggs with ketchup on them. Scrambled eggs. I love putting ketchup. I don't know, maybe that's not as uncommon, but if I gauged it by the 10 people that I asked today, does ketchup go on eggs, and the way they all started throwing stones, I was like, okay, maybe not. So yeah, ketchup on eggs is a big one for me. I am a sucker, and I don't care how messy it gets, but man, I like to get that big bag of peanuts that are in the shell and just like take peanuts out of that shell, and I don't care what kind of mess I make, I'll clean it up after. But like peanuts in a shell. Now, most times I'll get the jar of already shelled peanuts, the dry roasted kind of stuff. But just sometimes I gotta have that sensation of like opening that shell. There's something about that feeling of, I feel connected to the land. I'm just kidding. But yeah, shelling my own peanuts. Okay. And I don't know if this would count, but I can eat way too many Totino's pizza rolls or those bagel bites.
Oh my God.
Oh man, that's a guilty pleasure food. Like when I get done after, I'm ashamed, but I'll do it again. So yeah.
Have you tried them in the air fryer?
I don't have an air fryer that I consider works.
You have?
Yeah, no, I don't like to. Anyway, no, I haven't.
I want to go back to one little thing. Peanuts. You talked about peanuts, and I kind of got, I feel like this conversation is eventually going to come up. What are y'all's thoughts on boiled peanuts?
Never had them.
Not a fan.
I need to.
Okay. The ones that I had, I was not a fan of. But I'm sure they would be fine.
She's probably made them.
So a couple years ago, I went to Jackson, Mississippi to go help out when I was at the pawn shop, working at the pawn shop still. And I remember they gave me like, literally it was like a little Gladware bag, like a Ziploc bag. Yeah. And they go, hey, go ahead and try these. And I'm like looking at it. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, what's in the bag? And then they open it and you just smell the Cajunness. It's like Cajun, and then it was like fish, and I don't know how the heck they got fish in there, but I'm like, what is this smell? They're like, oh, it's boiled peanuts. I'm like, did you drop water in there by accident? Like, I don't
No,
I
it's
don't
a
know.
thing.
I'm like, what's going on here? And
Yeah.
like worst experience ever. I'm not a fan. And just the texture is why I don't do oysters. So yeah, like it's disgusting.
I've yet to try them, and I wanted to, and they're definitely going to make an appearance on my food show. So stay tuned.
I'm gonna make a request when they appear on the food show.
That you not be in that episode?
I don't mind being in the episode, but we're not. I will make them. We will not eat them out of a can because they're not good.
No.
You
I
sent
did,
me a picture of a can, and I was like, absolutely.
But it was going to be for a joke episode. I wouldn't make that. That's not going to be my first experience with him.
Don't do it.
He's going to do canned tamales also.
Yeah, well,
chicken in a can.
Listen, there is going to be a canned food episode, but that's a whole nother show. We're going to focus on our show here today. I do have some honorable mentions on my food guilty pleasure foods. The yellow zingers, not the chocolate. Again, when I was on the road for 10 years traveling for roller derby, I had way too many of those. And I can still do that. And Munchos chips, because you can't find them, but
Munchos
are the best, man.
Tabasco
I'll spend a lot of money.
What? Tabasco sauce, Munchos lime.
Why
game changer, bro.
I didn't know we could have honorable mentions. So
you can have however many you want.
So you remember when we went to Sebastian Snack Shack?
Yes. Oh my god.
Okay.
Jeez.
It was a pickle.
Yes.
Obviously, it had to be a pickle with me. It was hollowed out and stuffed with a candy called Gushers. They're like little chewy fruit snack candy, and they have like a little liquid in the middle. And then it was drizzled in chamoy, which is like a liquid chili sauce. It was wrapped in a fruit roll up, and then it was sprinkled with tahini, which is like chili powder. And then it was like served on a bed of hot Cheetos.
Yeah. It was like, wow. It was something.
It was like
something to behold.
Okay, so I'm from the border of Mexico, okay, and widely known to my friends as a reverse coconut. If you know what that means, you know what that means. But that's like the most ghetto Mexican food on the planet, and I love it.
Oh, I wouldn't even call it that.
I would like you to take me there again when I go to San Antonio. Like, please.
Yeah, we got to get George there.
So there's a definition for that. That's its own little category. They're called hood rat snacks.
Snacks.
Oh man,
yes!
Hood rat snacks.
Episode. That is an episode on our show.
Anything
I don't want to get us in trouble.
Anything with hot Cheetos is pretty much like you put that. Like I've seen corn in a cup, but they'll crush hot Cheetos and throw that on top of it. I've seen what is it, like hot Cheeto nachos or hot Cheeto people? Like that. And
hot Cheetos drizzled with nacho cheese sauce and served with like lime. What about corn nuts? Spicy chili lime corn nuts with nacho cheese and lime and everything. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go make a snack. I'll be right
back. It was quite something to behold. It was quite something to behold. I want to see if I can show you guys.
Oh yeah, that picture.
What it was.
Was Susan talking with the funny accent afterwards? Was she like making jokes and
No, not quite, not quite. But this is what it
in my life.
This is
what I don't think I've ever done that in my life.
There we go. Yeah, here we go. So
you chose that picture. Okay. But look, let me send you the picture from Sebastian's website so you can actually show people what it actually looks
like. No, that's the picture they're going to see right there. So that's the because it's so perfect. So they can follow us on Twitter, and if you go to Susan's Twitter tonight, she'll have posted the snack. So that way you can make sure you follow her on Twitter at Suzer Bruiser, as well as George Alvarado, simply George 1234 on both Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow these guys. as they post some really cool stuff. So more to come on that. All right, we got to move on because, man, we've already been at this for over a half hour and we've just done one. So, oopsie. All right, George, you've got either movies, activities, or songs. Please say songs. Please say songs. Please say
songs. Oh, hold on. I got this. What is songs?
All right, guilty pleasure songs. So we all have. People have this tendency sometimes to be a little bit embarrassed when they're like, man, I really like that song. And as I've gotten older, I myself I've gotten over that. I'm like, dude, Backstreet Boys, they're it. So like, I'm okay. But George, if you would then start us off, what are some of your guilty pleasure songs that you, when no one's looking, you're belting out loud?
So it just, I kind of want to really approach this because I'm very random with music, and it's funny because you hated me on one particular car ride because I was probably playing like some of my very south of the border Mexican Tejano music one time.
Oh, geez.
And, there was like that where I'm over there singing some, some Vicente Fernandez or La Tropa F, but then all of a sudden I switched it up and I'm over here putting on some Metallica and Led Zeppelin and some, stuff like that. But like you, I got my Backstreet Boys and then I got my One Direction. And then I got my, I kind of do that. But here's one little thing, and I'll dig into my playlist, and recently I kind of stumbled upon 60s and 70s music.
Okay.
To the point where, it's a little bit more of the doo-wops, the doo-wop songs, like the old style of playing. And it's one of those where, I just came across a playlist. I think it was like a 70s playlist, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep on adding music to it, and I didn't realize how much I like that stuff. I guess because
do you have some titles?
Hold on, let me see. So Please Mr. Postman, the Marvelettes.
Okay. There you go.
I mentioned this on my single playlist a couple of weeks ago. One by Three Dog Night. Do You Believe in Magic? The Lovin' Spoonful. Yeah. Great Balls of Fire, Jerry Lee Lewis. All I Have to Do Is Dream, the Everly Brothers.
Man,
What's New Pussycat? Tom Jones. Yeah.
I am
Hooked on a Feeling, BJ Thomas. Hold on.
So great.
You got to go to the Temptations. You got to get the My Girl in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stand by Me, Benny King. And then I got a couple Neil Diamond songs in there just to.
You can't say Neil Diamond and not name them. What songs? I got to know.
Cherry Cherry and
wow,
Sweet Caroline.
Dude,
Sweet
okay, so
Sweet Caroline's my jam.
Listen, where my admiration of you as a friend grew like in just the last few seconds tremendously.
Yeah.
Sweet Caroline, most people will know Neil Diamond. Cherry Cherry, not necessarily one of his prominent titles. Dude, man, I tell you something. What I had the pleasure of when my mom was with us twice. I was able to take her to see Neil Diamond in concert, and it was one thing to see her get up and belt out Sweet Caroline with the rest of the audience, at the top of her lungs singing the song. But Cherry Cherry was one of those songs also that I was like, Mom. So it was awesome. Fantastic. So if you like the doo-wops type songs, look up Duke of Earl. That's my absolute all-time favorite doo-wop song. What was that, Susan?
Not a fan.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I know you hate me. Whatever.
Man, I used to love karaoke in that one. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but those are,
you can have it.
You can
want to be for my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but that again, those are my. I guess that's my newfound guilty pleasure songs. It's like I know I'm 34, and it's one of those where. Yeah, here I am listening to 60s and 70s in my car, and I'm just like actually knowing the lyrics. And then I'm, passing up a old codger, and he's over there like, oh, I remember back in my day, those were the songs of my people. That's how I met my wife right next to me, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Well, and there's a question that's been asked, these are guilty pleasure songs, and the answer is probably not necessarily, but what I've learned, at least in my experience, guilty when you start getting comfortable with just, accepting the fact that there are songs that you're like, okay, fine, I do like that song. It leads you down a rabbit hole of exploring music in a whole different way, and you start to become more open to titles and such. If I may, Susan, do you mind if I do mine, and then we'll finish with you?
Please go ahead. Because
I remember the day that I actually admitted this one in a public place, and it wasn't with either one of you. So I'm sad that you missed the reaction, but I don't know why, but Call Me Maybe is a banger. So and
not wrong.
For the longest time, I would have it on playlists, and I was like, I could never let people know. And I had my brother in the car, and I forgot that it was on my playlist, and it came on, and he was like, "Dude, you too?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Nice.
So that's one that I now am not ashamed to admit. I love that song. It's very catchy. I'm a huge Kelly Clarkson fan, and the first title to grab is Since You've Been Gone. There's so many others. But I don't have any issue. I've seen her in concert live, and it's not until you look around and realize that you're the only 45-year-old male amidst a bunch of other kids. Basically, I'm like, oh man, I should probably move into the aisle. So, and then the other one on my list is, and Susan, I think you've been in the car when this one's come on. The song "Toxic" by Britney Spears is amazing. So.
I have it I was at a concert with you where they played Toxic in a string quartet.
That's true. We did see that. Absolutely. It was what was it? A 90s string quartet.
90s string
and that
quartet.
was one of their songs. And of course, anything Backstreet Boys. I'm 100% on board for.
Wait a minute. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet Boys.
Why?
Boys.
Because they're better. And so,
you know what? That's going to be another topic.
We'll debate.
I'm not going to participate in that one. I'll mediate the conversation.
Yeah, but yeah, those are my guilty pleasure songs. So yeah, don't make fun of me because oh, here we go. I hope this one isn't part of your list, Susan, but we got to put it up. Hanson. So just their entire discography. So. Thank you, Lady Arcart, for sharing that. That is an absolute great example. All right, Susan.
Okay, so mine is not so much specific songs. Mine is kind of more generic because I like genres of music.
Okay.
So I really like 90s alt rock and early 2000s alt rock, Third Eye Blind and some of the one-off artists
Dishwalla.
Of course my mind would go blank. But yeah, so basically half my playlist is 90s and early 2000s alt rock. Another one is it's even more specific. I like historical folk rock. I don't know how to say. Okay, so it's not exactly country music because I don't like country music. So, oh God, I have to look up his name. Johnny Horton sings a lot of historical folk music. There's one I remember. My mom had a tape, and the song was called "North to Alaska." It's literally music about the 1800s where they transitioned from going north to Alaska. And there's another there's a song about the Edmund Fitzgerald. I don't think it was Johnny Horton, but historical folk music.
Is that the soundtrack for Red Dead Redemption or something like that? Is that is that what kind of music you were talking about?
I don't know how okay, hang on, let me see if I can find it, but it's music that actually talks about actual historical events.
I don't know why I feel led to ask you this, but how do you feel about sea shanties? Because they're making a comeback.
That's a guilty pleasure. Yes.
I
Yes.
knew it. I had a
Yes. Yes.
feeling.
Yes. Just shut up. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can find it.
I don't know if our friend Rasta is saying that this is a guilty pleasure, but I have to put this up because he is naming my absolute favorite piece of music ever in the classical genre, and that is Moonlight Sonata, Beethoven. So yeah, that's got to make an appearance because
It's hard on them speakers.
it's a banger.
It's a banger.
I love Moonlight Sonata.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really find what it's called, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best way I can describe it is historical. folk.
Gotcha. I'm also happy to share that Captain Sparkle Pants also loves sea shanties. So
Yeah.
he and I are going to have
Me
to
too.
record an album soon. So
Okay. So before
Yes! Okay.
that would be somebody's guilty pleasure song. So
yeah, for real.
George,
I got a question for y'all. Linkin Park.
okay,
Y'all know who that is.
Oh,
right? Hybrid Theory, their first CD.
okay,
Yeah.
Can y'all sing the whole CD? Yes. or
no, no.
No.
Can you?
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay,
Maybe.
Maybe all but one or two. Yeah, but for the most part, like, yeah, it's one of those like that's like the only CD that I could proudly say that I can start it from the beginning, sing
Yeah.
through the whole thing, and I'm already singing the next song before it even shows up or
Gotcha.
before it even plays. But that's like my all-time CD that I could probably
Yeah.
anything else I'm like that one song goes in this place the playlist, this one song goes in this playlist, whatever. But yeah, Hybrid Theory,
Yeah.
Linkin Park is my one CD that I could probably sing the majority of.
I'm glad you brought that up because now that I think about it, I can sing through some albums like The Color and the Shape, Foo Fighters is one that I know like the back of my hand. Amazingly enough, a couple of the albums that Extreme put out, they were sort of on the radar and then gone. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. It's like word for word, song to song. You just know. And George, have you ever been in a position where it's like years later and you're like, I still got it, dude? Like it's amazing how that happens. So
Hybrid Theory and Meteora, both Linkin Park CDs. I over-listened to those like back in high school and after high school.
Yeah.
So it's one of the
started on Barry Manilow.
Yeah, and it's one of those where, yeah, like I stopped listening to a lot of the rock for about a good couple of years, and then here I am playing Hybrid Theory, and I'm like, I am a little bit alone, and I just started going after it. I was like, oh my god, I still have it.
It's still there, man.
Yeah,
it becomes part of your psyche. So
there's my cat, Maya.
Yeah. What is this hate for Nickelback? Come on, somebody. I'm not the first to ask this question, but since we're talking guilty pleasures, I've never understood it. I love their music.
Yeah, I
Rockstar
don't
is
understand
probably
either.
a Rockstar is like on every single one of my playlists somehow or another. Yeah,
there's so many good songs.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to be talking about not underrated, but like, hated but not hated, Creed also, to me, Creed.
Oh, absolutely.
Creed falls in that. And I love Creed just because of My Sacrifice and a couple other songs.
Yeah. Hello, my friend. We meet again.
Okay, you guys go ahead. I'll watch.
Oh, man. Yeah. And then there's those songs that you sing and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be singing that out loud. So, Winger 17. Anyway, all right. So that's guilty pleasure music, guilty pleasure songs. We got some time. Movies, I know probably maybe didn't seem like maybe are there guilty pleasure movies? I don't know how you guys felt about that one, but did we come up with some?
I do.
Okay.
And I'm about to blow y'all's mind.
Uh-oh.
So I don't have a guilty well, technically it is a bunch of movies, but I have a guilty pleasure genre.
Okay.
And that is musicals.
Oh.
I
would not have thought that, George.
I love musicals. You
Okay.
talk about like Moulin Rouge and Greatest Showman, and
Oh
you
yeah.
know, of course, Grease. You got to go with the Grease. You know, it's those kind of movies. One of my friends actually got me into Moulin Rouge, and she's like, "Oh my god, I could quote that movie from beginning to end." And I remember watching it the first time. I'm like, "Oh my god, Ian McGregor? Ewan McGregor is in this
Uh-huh.
movie." And I'm like, dude, he does a pretty good job, like in that movie. And then I forgot what her name was. Was it oh god, Nicole, is it Nicole Kidman in that one, or
Is
Nicole
it? Yeah, I
Kidman.
think so.
yeah, Nicole
I think
Kidman's
Mhm.
in it.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like I just remember seeing that and I was like, this is pretty legit. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it kind of goes with the last one where, you know, I love music. So to be able to like sing while watching a movie. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, you just brought me back. I love that you brought that genre up because it makes me think about the fact that there was a time, and I probably still could,
Mhm.
where I could sing the entirety of the soundtrack of Les Miserables with Wolverine,
Mhm.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Hugh
Uh,
Jackman.
I loved that movie, and I got the soundtrack, and it's nothing like the soundtrack of the stage plays. I'll be the first to admit that. But man, I can belt that one, Les Miserables, and it's a beauty. And when Anne Hathaway sings, I can't think of the name of the song, but her big number, what's it called? Is it On My Own? Anyway, and then there's a song towards the end. I forget the character's name, where the character ends up dying, but she sings this song because she's talking about she's singing about the boy who doesn't love her and that she's in love with. Anyway, I should know these titles, but man, it's like, why would you hurt her like that? So yeah, I love that stuff. That stuff, man. I guess George, you just like opened up this window for me, so thank you for bringing that up.
you know, I got, and my honorable mention for that is it's not a movie, a guilty pleasure movie, but it's more a guilty pleasure TV show, and
Okay.
it has to go to Glee.
Yeah, I knew it.
Because
I knew.
I you know,
Love it.
here I am singing, you know, so I kid you not, and some people are probably going to be hating me, but you know, it was because of Glee that I started, you know, finding out about Wicked,
Okay.
and that Wicked has a pretty good soundtrack, just because of all their the what is it, the stage plays. But yeah, like I don't know, at the end of the day, I gotta say I do kind of like I'll watch any musical just
That's
because,
good stuff.
yeah, it's one of those, like, it's good.
Love it. Greatest Showman. Listen, I resisted that movie so badly, and then I saw the clip of the very first song, and I was like, "Oh, let me sit down." And
I remember
was
you
over.
asking me about that. Like
Yeah.
you were like, "Have you ever seen this?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And you're like,
What?
"Okay."
What
And now
a
we have to.
musical.
And I think I
Yeah.
badgered
Yeah.
you on it. I was like, dude, have you seen this movie yet? Have you seen this
Yeah.
movie? And each time was no.
It's amazing. And don't even get me started on Hamilton. All right, Susan, what about you?
Well, now musicals, because damn. I
Yeah,
didn't know
no
that was a
kidding. Yeah,
guilty
talk to
pleasure,
us about
but,
that.
yeah. I like. Well, okay. In terms of movies, I like sappy rom-coms, like
Okay.
Nobody's Business. Like, if the picture, if the movie poster is Matthew McConaughey and he's leaning back against some other actress,
You too?
like if you look there's actually like a thing where that's all he does in all of his movie posters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a good movie, and I have to watch it.
Love it.
I am also you know, a big fan of, like, you know, girl hero movies. I don't know
Okay.
if that's really a guilty pleasure.
No.
Guilty pleasure TV show, and Sergio, you know this one. Love Me Little Guy Fieri. Diners, Drive-Ins, and
Oh
Dives.
yeah, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
We've talked
Absolutely.
about this.
Man.
It's been an inside joke with you and me. How dare you tease me for it? Just saying.
I don't tease you for it. No, I love it too. And you know, that's the thing, is that when I think of the term guilty pleasure, I think of the term, you know, I think of things when you tell people you like it, they're like, really?
Mhm.
And the cool part is when you can turn them. Like when you're like, no, just check it out, and then they come back to you and they're like, oh man, you were right. Like I can't tell you how often that's happened just with the two of you. You know, turning me on to something that I haven't tried, but yeah. So I have to ask, is this musical, since it came up, are there musicals that for you are standouts?
Hamilton.
Okay.
Yeah, Hamilton. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I waited too long on that, and then I finally watched it and was like, what is this? And why is it so fascinating? So for myself, guilty pleasure movies, I've already shared my love of musicals, and thank you, George, for bringing that up. I sometimes like movies that are so bad that it doesn't matter that they're so bad. They're just so over the top. Al Pacino has done a few performances that are like, dude, calm down. You know, you're going to get your Oscar. He did a movie called The Devil's Advocate, and it is so bad. It's a really bad movie, but it's so good. And so that's one of my guilty pleasure movies that when I bring it up, it's like people are like, really? And I'm like, dude, just, you know, hey, you got to forgive Keanu and Charlize Theron for their work in that. It's a great movie. Con Air is another one of my guilty pleasure movies. The cast in this movie is so amazing. And you want to talk about overacting at every level. But I will watch me some Con Air whenever it's on. Because I love The Rock so much, the movie, not Dwayne Johnson, the movie The Rock, Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery. It won't make this list because it is a cinema classic. But the other one on my list that is the number one guilty pleasure movie, and I first saw it on a flight to Japan after I had exhausted every other film because I wasn't going to watch it. I'm like, nope, I'll watch everything else before I watch this one. And then I was out of movies to watch, and I'm like, God damn, I'm still awake. Hot Rod. Are y'all familiar? Andy Samberg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nope.
It is so bad, but it's so good. I love the movie Hot Rod, and that's my guilty pleasure. Do the Drew says all of the Harry Potters are his guilty pleasure movies. That's awesome. And yeah, Hot Rod is amazing. Honorable mention, The 13th Warrior. So
no,
I knew it.
I both of you know.
I want my time back. I want my time back, and I want my $3 back.
You didn't even finish it.
Exactly.
So, I finished it, but I didn't want to.
I want my $3
is back. The best movie ever. So not ever, but
no.
I wanna kind of talk to Susan real quick because Susan mentioned rom-coms, and that's probably like one of my other guilty pleasures. You know,
okay.
Rom-coms. First rom-com that I watched, and I still remember it, is She's Just Not Into You.
Yes.
Yeah, She's Just Not Into You.
I had to think about that. I was like, dang, that's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been about a minute. It's been a minute. And it's what's it called? It's the same girl from oh god, what was that? What was that show? The one where they get stuck in the fair. Was it the fairy book? No, whatever. I'm gonna ramble. No. So, anyways, rom-coms, definitely that's a thing. And we're talking about this, and I gotta just throw another honorable mention.
Okay.
Ready? Staying alive. Stay alive. John Travolta.
The sequel to Saturday Night Fever.
Yes, Saturday Night Fever. Dude, Saturday Night Fever, Urban Cowboy, bro. Like we can just dedicate a John Travolta. Like,
yeah, I think that's your guilty pleasure is John Travolta films. So
bro,
nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, and just Scarlett Johansson's Rhiannon mentioned Scarlett Johansson. She was in that movie. She's Just Not Into You, and definitely that movie told me how to talk to women. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anytime John Cusack's in a rom-com, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in. Serendipity is fantastic. I wish I could think of rom-coms off the top of my head that I've enjoyed. because I know they're out there. So, all right. Well, before we land the plane, the last category was activities. And just to kind of set the tone for this, it can be anything that you do that you're like, oh man, I probably wouldn't readily admit this, but it's fun to admit guilty pleasures. And so I'll start. I'll just throw one out there as an example, and then you guys can share, and then I'll share mine. I call it karaoke. I will sing in the car, whether by myself or, as Susan can tell you, if there's somebody in the car.
Definitely not by himself.
I don't mind singing because I sound great in my own head, and that's all that matters. And so that to some is a guilty pleasure because they tell themselves they would never do it in front of people. But karaoke, as I call it, is one of mine. So I don't want to take away from y'all. So we'll start with you guys who would like to share any other guilty pleasure items that you guys have.
I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit it, but like I make things, everything, anything.
Okay.
Do you want me to paint something? I paint something for you. Need a necklace? I got that too. You need a hat? I can make you a hat. Crochet,
need a knife
knit,
forged?
or need a knife forged? You can do that. I think that's probably about, like my guilty pleasure is I'm terrible at it. A lot of things. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none.
Oh, okay.
That's my crafting life. So I
Yeah.
think do you want cider? You want beer? I can do that.
That's cool.
That's probably like I don't even know. Like that's something I'm not super
But do you ever voice your pets so that you can have conversations with them?
Yes.
That's another one of mine.
Not like you do.
That's another one. One of my guilty pleasures in life is because we have so many pets, because again, we have a big love for rescues around here. I will voice the pets so that Jen can have a conversation with them and vice versa. So it's, I don't
That's
just
adorable.
talk. Yeah. I mean, these wonderful creatures that we've been given to take care of, they have entire conversations with mom and dad. And if it's with dad, then mom's voicing the pets. And I have this one dog. His name is Reggie. He is he's a very anxious dog. He had a very bad life before he came to us. And I'm thankful for my son that I'm able to give him a peaceful life. But he just can't get used to me. He's just not into me. To steal a title from earlier. Because I'm tall. And he gets very nervous if I'm around. And every morning, you know that movie 50 First Dates? It's like he has to get to know me again every day because unfortunately in his previous life he was treated very poorly. But Reggie is the only one of the fur babies that when he speaks to me, he's very formal because I'm not daddy, I'm fellow resident. Or interloper is another one that he calls me. And so when I'm talking to Reggie, Jen voices Reggie, and it's like, and I'm like, hey son, how's it going? And he's like, hello fellow human. Like, so she does his voice. And so we voice the pets so that the other can have conversations with them. So
I would like that to be recorded and to have CG, with
I can make it happen.
Yeah, let's happen.
I can make it happen.
So
what about you, George? What's one of yours?
Oh, I'm done.
I thought we were just kind of flipping around.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Go ahead.
No, please.
So there's one particular thing, and Sergio by far is probably like gonna agree with this because there is a certain thing that we watch and that we spend money on and are willing to travel to, and that is our love for the wrestling industry. And by wrestling, WWE, back in the day would have been WCW, ECW, WWF. Nowadays, it's AEW, WWE, and we might even have a podcast somewhere on the social webs,
Someday we were get around to it.
But the reason I bring that up is because, and you could probably agree to this, in some groups of circles, it's really taboo, to even like wrestling, just because it's wrestling's not, and that's the crazy thing about it is wrestling's not the cool thing, or wrestling is quote unquote fake, but it's one of those where Yeah. But yeah, that's like one of the biggest guilty pleasures. I've been watching it since I was sitting up in Pampers on my parents' tube TV watching the Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah. Was watching it since then.
It was surprisingly good.
Yeah. But yeah, like, you know what? But this just goes to show you that wrestling gave you guys Dwayne The Rock Johnson, so suck it, Susan.
And there you go.
No.
There you go. All right, Susan,
Hey.
what's another one of yours?
Making lists and spreadsheets.
I've seen this firsthand.
Okay, hang on. I know that I've got like right within reach. I've got lists. Let's see. Nope, you can't really see it, but it's a list. It's got bullet points.
Yeah.
I make lists.
I get that feeling. I get that feeling because I went on a sprint of creating Excel sheets that are all automated of just breakdowns of different things. So
yeah,
I get you on that. I get you that.
Like I have lists within reach. Like,
and that's not even her spreadsheets. Her spreadsheets are epic.
No.
Yeah.
You ask me to research a restaurant or to research some restaurant options in a particular area. I will break it down by name of the restaurant, address of the restaurant, how many stars does it have in Google, how many dollar signs does it have in Google, what's their website, what kind of cuisine do they serve, what's the average price of a meal.
And I'm sitting there waiting for her to just pick a place, please. We don't need a spreadsheet, but no, I'm kidding. Hey, listen, it's done wonders for the food show. I can't knock it because it has done wonders for the food show. So fantastic. The last one, guilty pleasure, something I do that I probably wouldn't have readily admitted to except we're doing this show. I do this thing sometimes, and I have no recorded evidence of this. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. Okay, you see my setup, how you can see my microphone? I'll play music, especially if there's piano in it, and I like to pretend that I'm playing the piano, and I'm just like, and then I'll sing the words, but see, you can't see my hands, so you don't know that I'm not playing the piano. You just, because I have the piano motion down, I can do it. So, and then I reach over so I can double key over here. And then come on back. So it's just this weird thing I've done for years.
Out.
So I've never done it around anyone. Like, I can tell you honestly, over 30 years of marriage, my wife has no clue that I do this. Sometimes I'm just like,
now.
She hasn't. She's not able to hear this yet. So it's a weird quirk of mine. I like to pretend I'm playing piano. So there you go. And it's cool because if you, I record it, then I delete it, but I watch and I'm like, I look like I'm playing piano.
So how many years of experience do you have on piano?
None.
Got it. Sounds like a professional.
So there you go.
Yeah. Do you like playing with a A minor or a E minor sharp?
No idea. No idea. And let me tell you, I wish you guys could have seen how many times I took it off my list. And I was like, no, tonight's the night. Tonight's the night I admit that this is what I do. And I'm not ashamed because I can play some fake piano with the best of them. So such is my life. All right. Anything else that we missed that you guys want to share? One last hit before we start to land the plane.
Let me double check my list. I don't think I do. Cool. I think I got everything.
I don't know. We haven't really asked the chat. Like, has anybody just want to shoot one or rapid fire ideas that they want to share with us?
They've shared a few. But if there's any last moments, now's the time, guys. Thank you to those of you who've been in the chat with us all evening. If you have any last moment guilty pleasures you want to share, and here's the thing. Here's the lesson of tonight. We call them guilty pleasures because we're afraid sometimes to admit that we do these things. Stop it. Just, dude, live your life. Be you. Have fun. That's the whole thing. I love that I learned tonight, George, that you love musicals because I was like, yes, this is fantastic. I would not have even thought that of you, and I love it. And so, you know, those are the kind of things. So guilty pleasures, they shouldn't be guilty. They should just be things you love to do. And that's all that matters, because we're all cool no matter what we do. And now I'm going to play us out on my non-piano. And no, I'm kidding. But oh man, that's the lesson. Don't feel guilty about the things that make you happy. So I was gonna make it awkward here for a second.
Shall set you free.
That's right. That's right. So again, thank you all to those of you who've been watching. We appreciate it. George, Susan, thank you for opening your lives in this episode. Already looking forward to next week's episode. We are back, and George, continue to get better. Focus on your health, and Susan, you continue to do amazing things in your new career, and we're all very proud of you. And as for myself, Jedi Survivor releases tomorrow, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
We're happy for you, Sergio.
Jedi Fallen Order was the first game. Listen, new gamer here. I've only been playing games for about a year. Jedi Fallen Order, one of the first games that I finished completely. The sequel is here. It arrives tomorrow. But I've got to go to a movie first before I can play it. So, because I made plans because I forgot. So, all right. To all of you in the chat, again, one last time, thank you. We love you. And we remind you, even for those of you who are watching a video on demand afterwards, you're awesome. You're amazing. And the world's a better place because you are in it. We look forward to next week. In the meantime, know that we love you. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on A Few Minutes With. Good night, everybody.
Bye.